Welcome to Beyond My Crisis. I'm your co-host, Ron Rossnick.
And I'm Vivian Gaspar. We're here today to talk about something that most people are avoiding. How does someone with the chronic illness, especially one that puts them in debilitating pain, deal for the rest of their lives to get beyond their crisis? Well, here with us today, we have someone who's very special, and we're so honored that Carla Basante is here. She's a single mom, and more importantly, she is a sufferer of MS the last 20 years and deals with it for the rest of her life with the assistance of medical cannabis. Thank you so much, Carla, for coming on and educating our viewers, because so much misinformation is out there, and we just want to enlighten everyone as to what the real facts are. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thank you seriously so much for having me, both of you. It's such an honor, honestly, to be here and to talk about a subject that I'm really compassionate about.
We're happy you're an advocate, because it is something that needs to come out to the forefront.
So, how long have you suffered with multiple sclerosis? I can't even pronounce it.
That's okay. It's a tough one. No, it's a tough one. Since 1997. Yeah.
The worst condition that you've personally been in, what was life like?
Being a mom, that's probably like the worst issue to deal, and a single mom to deal with, having a handicap while raising a child, because you can't do the things that you always thought you were going to be able to do.
Specifically, what can't you do anymore?
Well, I can't run, I can't skip, I can't jump, I can't dance the way I used to. Sometimes I can't walk the way that I used to.
You also mentioned to me prior to us getting on to the studio here is that you also had to deal with a back surgery. Tell us, how did that complicate your MS?
It was kind of like a vicious cycle with walking, because with MS your gait changes, your walking patterns change, and then having the back surgery, it also conflicts with that as well. So I was compromised dually from the back and also the multiple sclerosis.
So the doctors then prescribed you what medication? What was it doing for you? How was it making your life?
It was when years ago, actually back in 1997, that's when my back was injured as well. I was prescribed narcotics and opiates like there was no tomorrow, and still up to
like Oxycontin,
hydrocodone, Percocet, and
Vicodin.
Valiums, Vicodin.
Wow. So did you become reliant on these just to exist on a day-to-day?
Well, I tried. There were some, yes, at times when the doctor prescribed it and I thought that it was needed. But then I also would take 600 milligrams of Tylenol a day.
Wait, let's take a step back. What does 600 milligrams really represent? Most people, when they take Tylenol, they take 2 for a fever or a slight back pain. Mm-hmm. How many milligrams does that represent in contrast with your 600? Let's give people a really good idea of what that looks like.
As the 600 milligrams, I mean, for me, that was the only amount that I could take that would relieve the pain that I was having.
How many pills is that usually?
3.
That's 3 pills.
If you have 200 milligram pills.
But in the course of a day, you were taking other pharmacological.
Oh, correct. That was just.
Okay.
That's just one aspect.
So in one day, how many pills would you take?
8.
And today, how many pills are you taking?
None.
None. So how did that change take place? When did this happen?
What discovery?
Well, because I was being a mom first off, and with the laws in place for cannabis, I started to research and educate myself in regards to cannabis, because I did it recreationally. And I thought, they're saying cannabis can work and replace or help all of these conditions that I'm suffering from. Let me educate myself on it. So I started to wean myself off the opiates and narcotics and to increase my cannabis. So that's really how.
Now, narcotics have side effects,
How did you find out about cannabis? Where did that discovery come from?
Because I already did it recreationally, and because I just knew through the proverbial grapevine of painkillers what people were using, and I thought, maybe this is an option for me.
But we want to get a very clear picture in one aspect here. You have prescription medication like the oxycodone and so forth.
Of them, yeah.
So my question is, what are the side effects? I mean, we hear all prescriptions have side effects, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Narcotics.
Oh,
what
yeah.
kind of side effect did that cause for you?
Oh, it actually changed me as a person. It was my personality changed too, because it can affect your thinking process. It can affect your organs, your blood pressure, your heart rate. All of these different things it can affect, and that's long term. And long term usage for things like that, it's going to affect your body more.
And opiates are addictive. So
Very
were you
addictive.
addicted to these?
I wouldn't say I was addicted because I was very conscious of what I was doing.
Okay.
To the point where when doctors are prescribed it, I'm like, I don't want any more prescriptions. Don't prescribe this to me. You know, you look at commercials today where they have like the cartoony character saying, you know, because there's, you know, too many opiates and it causes, you know, okay.
Right.
So it's like, so then you're going to take another drug because of all the other drugs that you're taking. And that's, maybe, Ron, that's where it clicked in with all of these drugs. When you had side effects from these other drugs, they were also prescribing other drugs for the drugs. And maybe that was the point that it clicked in. Yeah.
So when you started replacing cannabis for those drugs, did you see those side effects dissipate?
Oh, yeah.
So how long ago did you make this switch?
5, 6 years ago.
And how much cannabis do you need? I mean, how much do you have to consume?
You know, well, it really varies right now because, you know, cannabis can be taken in several different forms. Whether
and you have a device here.
Yes, this is a vape pen, and
Hold it up.
this is vaping.
What does that mean, vaping, for those of us who don't know anything about it?
The vaping is, you know, very big because a lot of people were doing that with tobacco. Basically, it's just a heating element, so there's no flame introduced to the cannabis. So there's that eliminates the carcinogen factor of a lighter.
Right. So my understanding is it heats up but doesn't burn the material.
It brings it to the right temperature.
180 degrees or so?
This is 350 degrees.
350,
yeah,
okay.
The one that I have this set for right now.
And it activates the cannabinoid.
It opens it up. It opens it up. It I can never say this word correctly. It opens it up. It introduces the heating element, correct. Because that's how the cannabinoids THCA will come THC or CBDA.
Wait. What, yeah, you're giving all these.
So THCA and THCB and CBD are the three major components that help you.
That people recognize the most.
Inside marijuana.
Right, but there's several other cannabinoids within the cannabis plants that also help as well as in regards to inflammation, pain, discomfort. I mean, you know, I can't stop eating. For anybody who has a problem with eating, if they're undergoing any other treatment, for a while there, after having surgery, I had no appetite, but I needed to eat. Introducing cannabis, then I will have an appetite to eat.
So what have you been able to do now that you're using cannabis, marijuana, instead of the drugs? What changed?
Oh, I could do so much more. I am so much more productive than I think I've ever been.
Mentally as well?
Mentally, physically, yes, absolutely. It doesn't cloud my mind.
Do you feel that it's really increased who you are as a person again? Do you feel like your you, the old self coming through?
As much as I can get to a place, a new me, with different things and approach it at a different level.
Now you were able to get this legally. You have this card from the state of New Jersey because it's legal state by state, but not federally now.
Correct. It's still Scheduled 1 narcotic. Correct.
So wait a second. How long ago did it become legal in New Jersey for medical purposes?
Oh, 2006.
Oh,
I think
so
2006.
It's been that long,
yeah.
11 years.
So you take this legally.
Correct.
And what are the obstacles? Do family, do friends,
any stigma?
Your son is in school.
Yeah.
Is there any things that you are combating with the psychology of contrarians against this? Constantly.
What is it
and
that you're hearing?
what would you want to say to someone like that? Someone that wants to know?
You know, my catchphrase usually is educate, don't discriminate.
That's great.
Because you really, once you educate yourself and find out exactly what the cannabis plant is really about and what it brings to so many people for different health reasons, you'd be surprised and relieved at the same time and understand that a lot of the reasons in regards to why the name changed to marijuana years ago. Once you research it and educate yourself, I mean, I could tell people this at face value and they're going to say, oh, okay, sure. But not until you really take the time to look at it, what it's worth. I mean, you can get a prescription bottle. You'll trust your doctor to write a script for a pain medicine that you maybe heard of, maybe not. You'll fill that prescription, take it home, open the bottle, take as prescribed, but do you really know what's in that pill? Are you
I don't think most people do.
Exactly.
They just trust blindly.
Exactly.
So then the problem is because people trust blindly, but they're also trusting stigma that's negative. They've been brought up their entire lives in the multi-generations that we have.
Exactly.
And to hear all this negative connotations with this, and now you're fighting the battle to remove the stigma.
There's enough intelligence. The state has agreed that medical marijuana is legal.
I believe that.
So there's smart people in New Jersey.
Correct.
And we still have to educate the balance of the population,
absolutely.
the benefits. I think some people think, oh, you're getting a medical marijuana card, but you really enjoy it recreationally.
It's so tough. I mean, even like being friends with restaurants years ago. And I would say, you know, when they have an alcoholic drink, and they're like, would you like one? I'm like, no, I'm good. I've already medicated it. And I'm like, you know, I had the medical cannabis. Shh, don't say anything. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? They're shushing me about saying I had medical cannabis. I'm like, all right. But then you just sit there and go, all right, because you're at a setting where, you know.
Because they have fear.
They have fear.
And I know there's an acronym for fear, false evidence appearing real.
Yes, absolutely. But then what you were saying too, in regards to my son's living in a day and age right now where there's still signs in his school that say something corresponding to marijuana doesn't lead to heroin, but
gateway drug.
It's a gateway drug. And so I've educated my son for the longest time, so he knows exactly what is going on and why mommy is doing this. This is because, and I've showed him, mom is not taking these pills anymore, and this is why I'm doing it. But it's still tough for him in the school atmosphere.
Have you been discriminated against by the school system or by any administrative faculty in the state of New Jersey?
No.
You know, like DCP&P, it used to be called DIFUS, they are not advocates for marijuana. As a matter of fact, apparently if a woman has marijuana in her system when she gives birth, that baby is taken away by the state.
Oh my gosh.
I really didn't know that happened to a woman, that they took her child away in the state of New Jersey.
Yes.
I know that it's happened in other states where it's still happening, actually. I don't know if that happened prior to the medical cannabis taking effect.
It happened after, but so this person was doing it recreationally without the medical.
Okay, so there you go. Okay. See, that's
they
another
construe
thing.
it
they can federally,
differently.
Right? And that's the stigmatism and the fears that we're all facing as medical cannabis patients, because it's against federal law.
So people want to know, what does medical cannabis really look like? You have here with us a pouch, if I may. Tell us, what can you tell us about this? Where do you buy it? How much does it cost? Is it different pricing for people? How is the prices created? What can you tell us about it?
Well, there's several different dispensaries in the state of New Jersey, and I go to Compassionate Sciences down in Belmar, New Jersey.
And it's a private company?
To ask right now, I'm not sure that answer, so I can't give you a factual answer.
From my knowledge, they are all private companies regulated by the state of New Jersey.
They are all regulated by the state of New Jersey,
and there's about 4 of them in the state right now.
Correct.
And they have to jump through hoops to make this happen.
But
so there's no bacteria, no microbials.
Oh yeah, everything
and
is everything very clean, with the Compassionate Sciences down in Belmar. They have the growing rooms and all of that, but they also provide such educational information in regards to patients.
You sent me this packet.
Yeah, they're incredible, and they're actually going to be coming up. I'm doing a self-help group. They're actually doing a program there to explain what it is from seed to harvest, to the different plants, to the different properties, the cannabinoids properties that we were talking about with the THC, and the CBD. So they educate people, and that's the thing. They're so well on educating people that's a primary thing that I want to do.
So you're an advocate.
Correct.
Who should get a medical marijuana card?
Well, the thing is, in New Jersey, there's only, and it's listed, only several illnesses that can get a medical marijuana card. We're trying to get more illnesses, but right now, with everything that's going on in the government.
I understand the scope of getting it is not quite as difficult. If you have a back problem, you can get it, right? Any skeletal issues?
Skeletal issues, there's a list of that's included there, but like MS, cancer, it's a muscular atrophy, so there are several, but there are several that should be on there that aren't on there
Well,
yet.
let me ask you, I understand we're talking about New Jersey right now, but what about the surrounding states? Do you happen to know what the regulations are, for example, in Pennsylvania, New York, just out of curiosity?
Not off the top of my head, to be honest with you, because I need to focus what's going on in our own state.
Right.
And there's that incredible group that I talked to you about, Americans for Safe Access, which is America's largest group trying to, oh my God, promote, I can't even believe I'm
Safe
slurring.
cannabis use.
Safe cannabis use for therapeutic and research.
So what's the name of this company again?
America for Safe Access.
America
it's an
for
organization,
Safe Access.
correct.
And that's anyone with a health disorder can consult them, and it's free of charge?
Well, Americans for Safe Access is actually a movement, you could say, because they're trying to see what regulations that can be brought, it's made around the country. So it's made up of doctors, lawyers, scientists, patients like myself, and it's a variety of group of people, like I said, so people can use medical cannabis for therapeutic reasons, and also research, because research definitely still needs to be done. So then we could say, fact, this is shown that this helps this illness, this can cure this illness, and this could provide this. So we need to have the research in medical cannabis as well.
So in a wrap-up, what's the most significant advice you can offer our viewing audience regarding medical marijuana and using it on a daily basis?
Educate yourself. Really, that is the most important part, because it's a plant.
It's a plant that
and our
has-
body works
But
with
you
it.
recommend it for MS,
Of
and
course
you
I
want
do.
anyone that has MS, you would say
I
go.
would recommend it for people with a variety of different illnesses: cancer, MS,
Is there-
ALS.
Is there an age that they should or should not use it? I mean, what is the youngest
All dependent
user
upon
and the oldest
all
user
dependent
you know?
upon the illness. When I met people out with the Americans for Safe Access conference in Washington, my roommate is a woman from Jersey, and her daughter has Dravet syndrome. So she has her daughter's
Tourette's?
Dravet.
Dravet, what is that?
It's like an epileptic disorder.
I see.
And she makes her daughter's medicine. She had to figure out what is it, THC or CBD. She has to do all of that to make her medicine for her daughter, so she doesn't have the seizures the way that she does. So that's a young age. So it
How old
depends
is your
upon the
daughter,
illness.
did you say?
I think Jenna just turned 12.
Oh, okay.
And for kids, they're not allowed to smoke it, but they could use oils.
It's the oils.
Right.
So where
correct.
do you apply the oil? Is it topical oil?
Well, you could use a topical oil, or you can ingest it as
They have
well.
sublingual oil underneath
You
your
could do
tongue.
that. That's one. Or you could just make the oil with the coconut oil, cannabis, and butter, and then you can incorporate it in your foods while you're still digesting the same amount that's needed, as long as you measure out what you believe you need. Again, that's what comes into regulation. It does need to be regulated no matter what.
Right.
Well, this has been very enlightening. Oh my gosh, I actually had never known anything. And my aunt actually, who lives in New York State, did mention it's legal. The problem is there's so few, I think it's called dispensaries.
Correct.
That sell them by her. She lives up in the Catskill.
Yeah.
She's 76 years old and lives in extremely condition of chronic pain with a lot of back surgeries.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't find the easy access. So if they only made it more, I mean, they can't ship it from what I understand. It's not like you could
Correct.
have it mail ordered.
Can't cross state lines.
It's
No,
a big
'cause every
topic. We
state-
have so much that we
Yeah.
can cover on this, and we're gonna bring this up in the future.
Great.
So maybe you
I'm
could
glad.
come on back and educate
Oh my
us
God,
some
seriously,
more.
that'd be great.
fantastic.
Thank you so much.